Welcome everyone to episode 39 of the TRU-U podcast. This is an exciting episode. Today we have a video sesh with three folks that are working in the entertainment and music industry in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Mr. Jake Carter, who I've actually had on one episode already, is with us, as well as TommyBoy and Mr. Momin Zuhier. Thank you all three for hopping on. And we'll throw a little humor in right out the gate here. We did actually have some of this already going without pressing record. So we're welcoming ourselves into this new video space here. So we're getting it down. We are getting it down, which means that we may have a little bit of an idea of actually how to use this thing now rolling into it. So that's good.
You gotta feel.
And I realized I left the banner up from before here, so let's jump right back into it. I know we were talking about vision before we pressed record. So, vision, and we were both kind of kicking around how we interpret that, but I think with what you guys do, non-traditional, rolling out there, focusing on entertaining and on, doing things that's really, there's a lot of value and people really admire it, but there's not as much people that are willing to do it. And it's something that I see as a space that there's more pressure that comes with. There's this, it's a different type of journey. So we were talking about vision before this a little bit, and I'm interested to hear from you guys, how important that vision is to you, and how that helps you guys with your journey in music. So
I can pick up where I was left off at, but like vision to me is the possibilities in tomorrow of that get me up out of bed every morning. Because, like you said, this is a non-traditional route, and, we're not playing it safe by any means. We're out here getting uncomfortable every single day and trying new things. And just that non-traditional route really is full of tons of uncertainty. So your vision is your guide through all of that. If you don't have your vision, that's your path. It's kind of your ideas and everything that's going to keep you moving forward. So like, to me, it's between juggling all of the artistry that I do, whether it be DJing or the music that I make or production or graphic arts, like that vision is my power. It's what keeps me going through the day. Helps me reach my goals and, accomplish things that without it, I don't think I ever would.
Yeah.
From a vision standpoint, for me, it's just like the want to create something new and continue to create and innovate, and not only meet new people, but learn new things and teach individuals new things. The industry that we're in is forever changing and forever expanding. And once you get into one part of it, it opens up into an umbrella of a bunch of different other opportunities for you to create something new, or learn something new, or meet new individuals. So the biggest piece for me is just that unknown opportunity that you could dive into at any moment, and what that might bring you, that could potentially be an extreme positive and or negative in your life. But either way, you're going to learn from it, and it's going to mold and shape how you take your next steps and where you head in the next direction in your life. I just love the aspect of how open it is and how you can really dive into a bunch of different things and learn.
Yeah, things. That's great, man. What is stepping into the unknown like for you? How valuable is that?
Oh, it's huge. It's scary as shit, but it's the only way to grow. I could definitely just go and work somewhere at anywhere. I could work a 9 to 5, not knocking 9 to 5s, but it's just I want to do something new every day. Like, I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to go to the same place, have the same route. I want to have new experiences every day, new opportunities every day. I want to learn new shit. I want to meet new people. I love all of that.
Well, you're guaranteed to get the same results doing the same things, right?
Exactly.
It's interesting to think about, like, and it goes right into like, you know, getting uncomfortable and how that serves you and going. I mean, the whole thing that you guys are doing, I feel like there's uncomfort until you let the vision helps, obviously, and knowing why you're doing it. But like whether it's stepping on that big stage for the first time, recording with that artist that you were, you know, admiring and listening to growing up or whatever it is, but that uncomfortable or unknown zone that we're talking about here. That's beautiful, man. How about you two, Tommy and Momin? How do you guys feel about stepping into those spaces and how do you relate to that?
Well, to be honest with you, I've uncomfort to me, being uncomfortable is it's it's pretty hard when you know why you're doing something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what keeps me grounded in terms of being in that unknown and not really knowing what's gonna happen. Is just knowing why you're there, knowing what it is that you're looking for, and not really stopping until you either find it or you find something else that makes you want to explore a different avenue. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about art and music is that, um, kind of like what Jake said, the different things that you get to explore and the different moments you get to create with people, they're all a part of different people's visions, and those visions are intersecting and meeting at a crossroads. So having those moments happen is what I expect out of the uncomfort zone. You know what I'm saying? In being uncomfortable is having an opportunity to create a moment.
Yeah, I love that. That leads to, I guess that this has come up quite a bit when you guys are talking, is just co-creating. And like and in your industry, I feel like that's huge, is looking for those other visions like you're talking about, Moment, and figuring out how can we combine forces, how can we grow together, how can we make it a worldly view. So I'm interested in just hearing, like, you know, with like the co-creation aspect and like how that comes together. I know we talked about team building prior to recording this here, but just with that piece of building and creating, you know, how do you guys feel about that, like within music in general, co-creation and collaboration?
I mean, there really is no creation without collaboration. There you can make something and listen to it in your room or admire it for yourself, but it doesn't become art until someone else has an interpretation of it. And I know that just having that interest and witnessing that is what pushes me. You know what I mean? And everything about my brand and everything about the values that I've built within that is about collaborating. It's called the Film of Dreams, meaning films of dreams. Which the whole thing depends on other people's visions. You know what I mean, and other people's work, because that's the only way that we really get inspired is by other people and by situations and moments and dilemmas, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
just collaborating is, for me, is just living life with the people that you surround yourself with, and you know what I mean, and creating something, whether it's a business or a piece of art or a moment. So
Yeah. How do you guys find those other dream chasers?
Trial and error.
I also think
it's a vibe too, man. Like
Yeah,
I know when I run into somebody who goes against the grain, and those are the people that I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to quote unquote weird people because it's unconventional. Like, these people
They're
are
weird.
people. Yeah, like I
They're
like
weird. They're weird.
up in a van and live their life for 6 months out of a van, just like riding a coast somewhere. Like, those people are the most interesting people to me. Like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
All right, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think-
I mean, you have to collaborate with individuals to figure out who you want to collaborate with, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it makes sense. Like you're gonna collaborate with a lot of individuals, and it might not be as fruitful as you would have hoped, but you're gonna take different bits and pieces from every part of that, whether it's like
Mm.
every individual has a different way of looking at every single situation. So you're really just expanding your thoughts and your takes on every type of thing that'll come at you.
Yeah. Do you think your eye gets a little sharper with time and experience too, at where the collaboration should be? Yeah. I'm wondering, I like how Momin was like you're attracted to that. You said like there's like an energy out there. Like I feel like your subconscious, you kind of begin to train it in on how to collaborate. You know, it's interesting too when you develop deep enough vision how that kind of just opens up those paths to those people, it seems, from my experience at least.
And I
um,
think in our space too, Moment talks about this a lot, and like playing roles is a huge part of what we're doing here, and as part of collaborating, everybody plays their role in a collective dream. Like, who knows what can happen, man? Like, the possibilities are endless when everybody is putting in their best foot forward, and we're all just working for the same goal or same many
For
goals.
each other, man.
Yeah, and
That's, I mean, like I say, like the fabric of what I do and why I do it is at the end of the day to help people accomplish things, because that's like, by me doing that, I'm accomplishing things. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
that comes however it comes for me. If that means that we got to work on this project for this person, then that's what it is. Like, I don't know. And finding like a little community of people, like a little circle of people that you want to support in that way, and that you see something special in, and you believe in their dream, like that's that's what gets me to even get in the room with somebody. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
how serious do you take yourself? Do you take your vision? Like, if it's not something that you want to take to the next level, then I don't want to have any part of that. But if that's what you want to do, then I'm going to do everything I can to support that for you. You know what I mean? In the ways that I'm capable. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like the structure aspect. I know Jake, I've talked to you about that a little bit, but like just the knowing your lane and staying in it, when you're looking at building a business. And I think that there's a lot of value in the openness and the support for everyone's role, and chiming in if there's some value to add, but knowing what it is that you have to do, and when you got to do it. How has the progression been for you guys? I mean, I know Jake, I know I've talked to you a little bit offline about this, but just with your team and seeing it and growing, I know you guys got some exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been nice to before I used to try and like head on everything myself. So actually being able to step away and like allow others to take reins on projects has helped me free my head too, because I'm not constantly stressing about stuff I don't need to. And it allows me to focus more on what I'm good at and the values that I immediately bring to the table. While I can let others bring their values to the table and I can work on stuff in the background when I have time for it, not necessarily trying to cram everything at one time and dropping the ball in one spot because I'm too focused about a certain project or forgetting about day-to-day tasks because I'm so caught up in one thing that I have to do. So it's been really nice to have other heads to bounce ideas off of too, because that's always a struggle, especially in this industry. Is um, you get ideas all the time. You constantly have ideas, but if you don't have anyone to share with them with, or anyone that's gonna like to let you know, hey, maybe you should wait on that, you're gonna either run yourself crazy because you're gonna try all these things over and over and over again, or you're gonna lose all your confidence because you're gonna have all these ideas, but you're not gonna know what to do with them, and you're not gonna know who to tell them to. So just having that other ear is a really big thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I
How do
think
you?
I think the key, man, is to allow people to do the things that they find joy in, and to allow somebody else to do the thing that they find joy in, and put that to the table, and find how that can work for the team and add value to the team. because at the end of the day, if people don't enjoy what they're doing or they're stressed out about what they're doing, then we're not going to get anywhere. And that's not fun. That's not what anyone's doing it for. Like at the end of the day, like I want to create a life of joy. So if I can help people do that and that can bring me joy, then that's what it is that I'm going to do. And the different roles and responsibilities that I have, I'm going to make sure that I find those, you know what I mean, fun to do. And if they're not, then I'm going to find somebody else who finds that thing that we need done fun to do. You know, in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. It's like an energy floating around in the air when everyone's on that level, right? Like you can
Right.
feel that, and like you get like now we're talking about traditional ways of doing things. You go into some of those spaces, and it may not be by design; it may be by default, and you may run into some energies that aren't very serving.
Right.
Run into some people that ain't very joyful, man.
Right.
And it's beautiful. I love what you say there is just create a life of joy. And when you can partner that up with what your vision is and like how you can build off of that and impact lives and make money, and that's amazing. You know,
Yeah.
that's
what
it.
bed in the morning, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to wake
That's
up
it.
and have fun, man.
Drop the mic. We're done. Uh, so is there a way to like provide structure to that? I'm curious. I like the topic that we're on, with finding joy and allowing that to be the force behind what you do. But like, as how do you guys provide that structure within with that piece?
I mean, that's kind of what's been everything that we've been trying to put in place as far as scheduling the calendar. And with art and creation, it's really tricky because it's something that it's very sporadic, and it's people are inspired at certain times, but at the end of the day, like if we want to make the things that we find joy in our careers, we have to figure out how to show up every day and how to get past not being inspired and focus on the things that we can accomplish that day. If it's not creating art, you know what I mean, it's setting up the different structures, it's having the different meetings, it's following up on the different the different loose ends that come along with creation. So I think the biggest piece is just setting up those systems to be able to um, tie those loose ends for us, and to just know that, okay, when we have an obstacle, this is the way that we go about it, or we just have these different things in place so that we can really try to just focus on showing up and having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, as Momin's been a huge help with, I mean, all of this structuring and whatever we want to call it. I think he's tied a lot of loose ends in my day-to-day life as an artist. And yes, we got more work to do every day. We got more stuff to figure out and all that, but it's really helpful, and it helps keep my mind at ease knowing that that these structures are in place, because it makes me feel more valuable on being an artist. Like he was talking about, like there are days you just don't feel inspired at all, and it's those days are the hardest, because you should be doing something, and you end up kicking yourself down rather than building yourself back up by letting your mind run that kind of circle. So having these structures in place and things that we can do on a day-to-day basis that are, if it isn't creating art, it's working on something else that needs to be done, and
we're just going out and having fun, man.
Yeah,
like,
that too.
there's been days we can't get something done, or people are they feel off, and so we'll just go hop on some bikes and ride some bikes around, or
you guys have been doing that a lot lately. I mean,
and I think that's the big thing, man, is like, don't beat the what I mean, don't beat a dead horse. Like if you don't feel what I'm saying, productive, then get somewhere where you can feel productive in whatever it is, and then come back to it. You know what I mean? And that's the part about art that's really tricky, because I feel like that's where a lot of people give up, is like not being able to figure out how to go about their day to day when they're creating art, and how to figure out how to get money and bills figured out. You know what I mean? It's real life happens, but I feel like when you really try to just create joy, and it sounds crazy, but when you just focus on that, like it starts to unfold for you. Things start to, there's opportunities that are created that'll start to, open up your path a little bit more.
And joy is a gateway to creativity.
Right.
Sounds like. No, that's beautiful. It was actually that you kind of answered the question I was going to ask, which is how you keep the creativity alive, and that's yeah, I like your answer to that, or well, answer to the question that I didn't even ask. How would you guys like and building off of what Momin said there, how would you guys interpret that, like with keeping creativity flowing and alive? I mean, you guys are in an all creative space, you know. What would you guys say to that?
I mean, I would say working heavily on like your mental health and making sure that like you're all right with yourself, because that's a big piece where your creativity will lack, or you won't want to create because you're not necessarily confident in yourself or your abilities, or you have other like shit going on in your life, and you don't think you have time to focus on being creative or try to be creative, and a lot of times that could be your release. So that's like personally what I've been working on heavily, is making sure that like mentally, physically, emotionally, I stay as good as I can in my head, and in my body, and in my day-to-day life, just because I know that will lead to a more fruitful life overall, and especially driving that creativity.
And I think from my aspect, like I I remember being an artist and back in Rochester, even my hometown in St. Charles, and just nobody really, your friends care and they want to see you do well, but nobody really cares about the art that you're making as much as you do. And it's finally nice to be somewhere where everybody around you is appreciative of what you're doing, and not only that, but there to help you when things are needed to be helped with. And watching your friends, or people you're working with, do well and accomplish something, and helping them with that only drives my creativity even further. And so it's just continually being around a healthy mind space with the people around you, and just letting the aura, the vibes that everybody brings around, kind of just keep that jar full of creativity, is something that I've really enjoyed being up here and working with these guys.
Right. I think creating freedom too, is we all just want to have freedom, bro, at the end of the day. Like freedom to express, freedom to be ourselves, freedom,
Free time.
Right, free time.
More
so with the creativity especially, like, you have to focus on freeing yourself in terms of just whatever it is that's getting in your way of being creative. And I know for me and Jake as managers, like that's our job, is to try to basically tie up any loose ends for the artists so that they can just show up and focus on creating, and they don't have to worry about how this is going to happen or how that's going to happen or what's going to be done about this issue. Like there's people here focused on those things, so that freedom can be opened up for that person, to be able to create. And I think doing that for artists, that's what our job is. That's what my job is. I can speak for myself in that way. You know what I mean?
You can speak for both of them.
But
that's what
it's like
however we can.
Right. I never like to. Speak for
I
other
feel
people,
you though. But I mean, it is however we can make artists create at the highest level. Whatever we have to do. If I have to run a mile and a half to go get a Big Mac because that's going to make you make a song,
I'll burn it off.
Half, and I'm going to go get a Big Mac because that's what you need to create.
Right.
And that's what we do.
And just having that willingness and having people around you with that willingness, like it's a freeing experience, you know what I mean? So it makes you want to do things that you normally wouldn't do for people because you're around other people who do things for you. You know what I mean? And so it's having that inspiration, and keeping that aspect of things alive. I think that's when things can start to get done at a really high level. But I don't think if that's not figured out, if the focus of how can we create more freedom isn't being attacked, then like it's not really gonna work.
Go eat Big Macs.
Right.
Exactly. That's what you need, man.
Yeah, McDonald's should sponsor this episode.
Got a notification from McDonald's app too.
Inspiration, man. The Golden Arches. If you guys were to go back to, like, Tommy, you're talking about St. Charles, if you go back to like when you started creating and where you are today and what you learned on that journey, what would you guys would you do anything differently? Would you do more of something, less of something? How would you go back there?
I wouldn't change anything personally because I'd be in a different spot than where I'm at. And I mean, my biggest thing would be just keep fucking going.
Yeah.
You're going to figure it out. That's the only way that you're going to learn is by doing a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's why when you go and apply for jobs now, they want experience because that's where you learn. Yeah, going to college was super sick for me, but working a bunch of different jobs and a bunch of different internships and allowing myself to mess up with a business that I started when I was young was huge for me because I just kept going. I just kept trying. I just kept learning from my mistakes, learning from my opportunities. And that was the biggest piece for me. And I wouldn't change it because I'd be in a different spot.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I would say, basically the same thing. I started making music when I first started tooling around with it when I was 16 or 17 or something like that. But I mean, that's 6-7 years in the making. And, for a lot of the first few years, I wasn't really putting like a lot of effort into it, but it's crazy to think that like, if I could show myself to my 16-year-old self, like, this is where you're going to be, I would have looked at you like you're a crazy person. I know that's like something people always say, but like, it's so true because I just showed up and it's something that I love to do. And, I want to make a career out of it. So that's why I continue to show up. And the leaps and bounds of progress have been just unimaginable in that aspect because I just showed up every day. And that's what you need to do to get better, to find what you want and get to where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I don't know. I kind of forgot the question. What was the question?
Would you
again?
If you can go back.
So, my bad.
Get the man a Big Mac, will you?
No, I haven't had my morning coffee yet, low key. So, but no, I would just tell myself to work with more people, like, and just always remember why you're doing it, because I don't know, I feel like some of the places I ended up, I lost my why for a little bit. So, that's why I just try so hard to keep it in mind now and help everyone else keep that in mind. It's like, yo, just remember why you're here, remember why you're doing it, and if it's not creating joy for you, then find something else to do that creates you joy. So
I love it.
And
As we're flowing through,
that's a post.
So as we're creeping up to the end here, what are you guys up to now? I know Jake, I've talked to you a little bit, but what's in the works? What are you guys excited about right now?
Man,
what launch?
honestly,
I talked to you on a personal level, so we gotta see what we.
No, yeah, that's fine. This is up to you. Hey, we can tell them we got some shit brewing, some secrets,
Right. We got, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. I think, bro, the biggest thing for us, I know, like, our focus is to not celebrate too early and to not to announce something before the thing has happened. You know what I mean? Like we're really building the foundation of what's going on right now, and there is a lot of things that we're excited about coming up, but those are just stepping stones into the next thing. And we have a long way, like we said earlier, from being where we all want to be. And that's kind of the exciting part about it, is that we're all a bunch of really hungry dream chasers that are willing to do whatever to make it work. So just seeing what comes from that and just waking up each day, like, not knowing, what new opportunity is going to present itself as a stepping stone is what keeps us really going and moving. But I think, when we look back on it and see just what we've accomplished in the first 6 months of being all together, because just in the first 2 months, we've been together, a lot of things have have happened, and a lot of things are changing, and a lot of things are about to happen. So just even thinking about what it's going to be like 6 months from now or a year from now, you know,
Yeah.
it puts things into perspective. So
Beautiful. Well, all right, dudes. Well, thank you. Thank you all for hopping on. Thank you for hopping on before we recorded and after we recorded. So we got a nice extended.
appreciate you having
Yeah,
us.
thanks
It
for
was a
having us.
warm up.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. So we always like to end these with a broad message to the TRU-U audience. There are a lot of creatives, a lot of artists on here. So if you guys were to leave them, if you each have a little message for the audience, what would you guys want to leave them with?
Find your peace, man.
Find your peace.
Find you. That's and that that kind of goes in. I had a conversation with a buddy the other day about finding peace and finding who you really are, because that's all that matters at the end of the day is you. That's all you got is you. And if you're unhappy in your own skin, you're unhappy with yourself, it can be a dark world out there. So go find, take some time, go find what you're interested, what you love, and love it to the max. That's what I would say.
Yeah, mine would just be don't stop, just don't give up. The moment you lose is the moment you stop doing something, whatever it is. Stop trying. Just keep going. Just don't give up.
Run through the finish line, right? Beautiful. Well, I appreciate all you guys hopping on. Thank you. Looking forward to staying tuned to what creation you guys put out there, what joy you guys put out to the world. And I'm sure I'll be popping in there at some point and saying hi too. So
Definitely, man.
much love, you guys. All right.
Appreciate you, bro.